camera for you.
Uh-oh.
Alright guys, welcome back to Skulls and Shackles, Week 8. The crew here is finally free of the tyrannical reign of Captain and Master Scourge. And they have their own ship, and they got more ships, more problems. I'm still going to do some work with the cameras here, but let's check in with everybody. Adam, how are you doing this week? I know that, let's say, Friday night, something may or may not have happened, which caused your group to almost all die.
Oh, it was literally insane. It was a lot of fun, though. So that was definitely exciting. I've never done that before. Take the life of a fellow party member, but sometimes when you're not right in the head, you got to put them down. So.
I've never seen a party member go insane in just one roll before. It's fantastic. The best part was it wasn't even magical insanity, so it's not like you could just cure it by casting it away. His mind broke.
Other than that, no, it's been a really busy week, and so I'm looking forward to kind of November rolling around. We get an extra hour, right, next weekend,
Yes.
And looking forward to that extra hour to sleep, and a little more laid back for the holiday season. So I'm still thinking of a pirate name, but I think I'm pretty close on what I'm looking at.
Well, Kirill took Kid Tomes, so Uncle Books still fits. If you just want to take that as your actual name rather than just Novardi. Because
I really love. It's grown on me so much. I don't like to switch things if it's working, and Uncle Books kind of works.
So the captain obviously didn't care about you that much. The officers never paid any attention to you. All of the crew came to your boat. When the Wormwood left, it was crewed only by people from the Man's Promise, so no one would actually know you by that name.
I'll keep it.
Uncle Books, he's a madman, a sea dog. I heard that he punched through the heart of a giant whale. Alright, so now for the reintroductions. How about Dan and Kid Tomes? How are you this week, and how is Kid Tomes?
Let me just say that sitcoms are hard. Making sitcoms is very hard. It's very frustrating, especially at even at the college level, especially at the college level. So that's been a majority of my week this week. How have you been?
I've been great. I've unfortunately been playing far too much Civilizations Beyond Earth. Way too much. If you haven't checked it out...
I've been playing Borderlands, actually, the pre-sequel.
Oh, how is that?
It's fun. It's not quite as funny as Borderlands 2, sadly, but it's still got some very laugh-out-loud moments, and of course the core gameplay is very much intact.
Awesome. Yep, I need to rework some of these cameras, and by some, I mean all. Alright. Which makes me wonder which cameras I reset earlier. I think I might have ruined everything. Alright. Anyway, to keep things moving. Lorraine, how are you this week? And what is the new name of the captain of whatever you want to name your ship, since it's yours?
Captain Ferris Schwartz, and I think we're still discussing the name of the ship, as evidently the good ship Lollipop threatened a crew mutiny.
Oh.
I can understand why that would happen. Have you considered the Pink Jolly Rancher? Maybe the Cute Boat?
Well, after the last session, where all the women kind of curb stomped our former captain,
Terrifyingly, yes.
Scourge, to death, I'm thinking of naming it the Bloody Rag.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god.
That would be even worse.
Wow.
The whole audience just face palmed all at the same time.
Oh.
Why would you do such a thing?
Well, it will be utterly terrifying when we get
There's a lot of good puns to come from that.
Please no. Please no.
Our reputation
just
could be
say
stained
no.
by that name.
Please no.
There's one. There's one.
Actually, I think we should open it up to the viewers.
Oh no, even worse.
No, that would be bad.
If there's one thing I know about my audience is that they're terrible at naming things. Sorry, audience. Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I threw out the name, and it's a generic name. Our first session, it's called Rebels Ransom. I don't know if you guys like that or not, but I think it's passable. Or Rebels Revenge.
Hmm.
Well, we
I
got
got
some
that,
time
y'all,
to
sorry.
think about it.
Okay.
Can
Yeah,
we
we're
name
not
it
at
the
the.
shiny dolphin?
The
I
shiny
know you love dolphins.
That actually works.
Yeah, because dolphins are terrifying war machines. That makes a lot of sense.
They're beings of pure evil.
Yeah. Craig, how are you this week? I know you just finished, or you're in the middle of your move, so thank you for joining us this week. Did we just lose him? Welp,
I think. Whip.
think we did. I will take a moment instead to talk about a project that's coming into fruition quite soon. Going to be working on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. You might have heard about this in a couple of other places, just revealing things incrementally. We've got the first game going down on November 6th. You'll see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces in it. If it works out, in December, Thursdays and perhaps Fridays, we'll have groups. I think the Friday group will probably be inviting viewers to join us. And I think every week for Friday, the viewership will change. Thursday, there'll be some regular players and there'll be some drop in and outs. The whole campaign is designed around a hub city in the style of West Marches, which is a fantastic campaign world. You can Google West Marches and learn more about it, where it was designed by a GM who had a lot of friends, and he wanted to make sure everyone was able to play, and so it revolved around one table and one tavern in one city, and all the adventures would launch from there, and they would slowly fill out the map of the world on that table, and everyone would leave reports so that all the other adventurers would know what's happening in the world. So I would like to try to recreate something like that. We'll see if it works. Craig, do we have you back? I guess not. So for everybody else, did anyone get a chance to look at naval combat in the player's guide?
Yes, briefly.
Excellent. I should probably open up my player's guide just so I can follow along correctly. Uh-oh. I don't remember what There it is. For those of you who would like to learn along with the rules, the player's guide is free on Paizo.com. You just search for Skulls and Shackles Player's Guide, and it starts on page 8, Naval Combat. So we're going to go ahead and get moving along here once I resize these PDFs so I can use them side by side. So, who can fill us in with what happened last time we met? Does anyone remember?
They've already punched a whale.
That did happen.
We
So-
finished our adventures on the island, rescuing our dear kidnapped friend, the cleric, but sadly failing to rescue the halfling who shanks people. We then returned to the ship, where we discovered that the rest of the crew had ganged up on our erstwhile Mr. Scourge and company and had beaten them up and tied them up. They challenged us to single combat, and we decided that smartness is the better part of valor, refused them, as we had not yet healed, and then proceeded to lead the crew in a bloody bit of vengeance.
Excellent.
We have now declared ourselves captain and heads of the ship and are setting off to get it promptly renamed so that our former captain can't track us down so easily.
Fantastic. That is an accurate summary. Do we have Craig back?
Oh, I'm here, and I'm live mic now.
Excellent. All right, good. Let's check in with you, Craig. I don't think we ever did. I believe that you were in the process of moving right this very moment, so thank you for joining us.
Yep. Loading, packing, and unloading from about I don't even know, 10:30 Friday morning until about 5 minutes after. 5 minutes before 7 tonight. So, yeah, long weekend.
I'm going to be moving like December 9th, so I'm not looking forward to that. It's going to be terrible.
Well, I paid somebody last time. I should have paid somebody this time.
I understand you're going to be taking the name Master Scourge.
Yep. I think Sifric is going to go ahead. He kind of, sort of, in a roundabout way said that he would, so he's, being a dwarf and all, he's not much on going back on his word, so he's, like it or not, I think, is going to be Master Scourge now.
All right, cool. Could I just ask you to flip your camera on and off real quick to see if that clears up my connection issue?
Certainly.
I'm not certain if it'll work, but it's worth giving it one try. And I believe that you gained a supernatural power using Master Scourge's whip while having the title.
Yep, as long as I am using the whip, I'm proficient with Scorpion Whip.
Indeed.
Nice.
So I'm going to go ahead and switch your character's name up real quick to Master Scourge. Excellent. And we will get started.
Alright.
There's going to be some text here, and I'm going to try to read it in a piratey voice without killing myself. At the conclusion of the Wormwood Mutiny, you mutinied against Barnabas Harrigan's prize crew underneath Captain Plug and Master Scourge, and claimed your own ship, the Rahadumi vessel Man's Promise. Though they are now free to commence your own career as pirates, you must clear up a few matters first. You now control the ship that was seized by one of the most notorious free captains in the Shackles, and he likely still considers it to be his property. The wrath of Captain Harrigan, should he catch up to you and the Man's Promise before you are prepared for such a confrontation, would be terrible indeed. If you don't realize this right away, it should be brought to your attention, because I'm currently saying it. Most ships that sail the inner sea region, such as the Man's Promise, were crafted by hand in shipyards throughout Avestan and Garund. Though the ships of same type are similar in attributes and size, they each have their own look and lines, which the practiced eye of an experienced sailor can recognize in the dark by silhouette alone. Successfully stealing a ship and hiding it from its owners requires more than a name change and a new coat of paint. There must be a complete rebuild of the superstructure and rigging in order to change the way it looks. Such an overhaul is superficial in nature and changes none of the ship's characteristics, but it does give it a new appearance and lines, so that even someone familiar with the original ship can only determine the falsehood after several minutes of careful study. Changing the identity of a ship in such a way is not cheap, and must be done in secret, or word would get out about the ship's new identity. Powerful free captains with their own home ports are able to do such modifications in their own shipyards, in private, and in dry docks, with captains who have access to skilled carpenters or shipwrights among their crew. But not everyone has access to these sort of resources. As a result, a side industry of sorts has grown into existence at remote locations throughout the Shackles and just beyond its borders, where captains can find discreet craftfolk willing to do whatever work they need quickly with the promise of silence for the right price. I now need everyone in the party to make a knowledge local, craft ship, or profession sailor check.
20.
Okay.
$16.
Woohoo! 29.
Damn.
All right. You guys put your heads together, and with all your various powers, you remember a location now called Rickety Squibs, an outfitter in a remote location on the Slytherin coast, in a relatively close position to where you are adrift. Another obstacle remains, however. Even once you have squibbed your ship, the matter of sailing within the Shackles is a dangerous one. Even if you do manage to remake the man's promise into a new vessel that will not be recognized by Captain Harrigan or his associates, you still face the prospect of being a new ship in pirate waters, with no reputation to back you up. The free captains of the Shackles have a name for this sort of vessel. Prey. Unless you want to constantly fend off attacks from fellow freebooters, you'll have to make a name for yourselves as pirates along the fringes of the Shackles first, in order to be accepted and respected as peers among the other free captains. In order to establish this name and acquire reputation, you will need to accumulate both plunder and infamy by performing acts of piracy. I'll be keeping track of your scores, and it's also part of your documentation now. In fact, your ship is also stored there, in case your siege engineer wants to look over weaponry. LOL. Because you don't have any. So, now with that lengthy intro out of the way, the ship, undercrewed, barely able to sail given the battle damage it suffered previously and the fact that it's just above half crew complement with you killing everyone, has finally made its way 3 days later into the estuary of the Rickety Squibs. Rounding the tall headland reveals a hidden cove at the mouth of a wide jungle river, its sluggish brown water staining the water of the blue sea like an ugly bruise. A series of docks has been built upon this estuary, with buildings concealed beneath an overhanging limb of the jungle beyond. A wooden watchtower stands on a promontory of the headland, carefully concealed from forward view among the trees to provide a clandestine view of the sea. As you sail deeper down the estuary, you find yourselves at Rickety Squibs. A checkered yellow flag and a red flag is raised above the tower promontory, and a blue flag is hosted on the yard arm of the docks ahead of you. A number of humanoid figures emerge from shaded buildings and gather on the pier. A small single-masted longboat sets out from the boathouse estuary to meet you mid-river. The crew hails you, telling you to drop anchor and discuss terms with them. What do you do?
Sense motive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna sense motive on that as well. Where'd it go? There it is. Yeesh.
Just want to make sure everybody got a good look at this map. This is the watchtower, the concealed watchtower. Before we move back to this guy, grab your characters. Alright. Anybody else sensing any motives?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I could roll it. I got a 0.
Yeah, I'll throw one in there.
Okay. All right, you guys try to look over the sailors, but they're being very cagey, and it's difficult to tell what they're thinking. They just continue to shout at you to drop anchor and to come aboard their longboat.
I see no reason not to.
What do you guys do?
I ask Sandara Quinn if this is a normal way of doing business.
Sandara looks a little confused. Ambrose Croup steps up and says, kind of puffs out his cigar and is like, well, this is kind of how Squibs does it. It's a little unusual to do it like this, but we're a new ship. He's never seen us before. I suggest we do what they say.
I go along with it.
Okay. Croup nods. And at the back of the longboat, a man throws off some blankets that were covering him. And he starts laughing in between his teeth and says, You're hot waters now, little girl. I'm Rickety Hake. Now what do you want here?
Well, I heard you're a good man with a hammer and a saw.
I am that indeed.
I was looking to see if we could get a little work done on my new ship.
All right. We'll squib the shit out of it now. I want my payment. If you can't afford it, I'll front you the money, but you'll have to pay me back. And I'll tell you what, if you run away after I squib your ship, well, let's just say things don't go very well for those who cross old Rickety Squibs. I squibbed half the free captains in the fleet.
Wouldn't dream of it, sir. You never cross a good carpenter.
A good. He just stuck like a record. He's like, good thought. All right then. I'll need 2,000 gold pieces to squib this thing. Now I've done it twice before, so I know I can get this one done quick.
Good to know that he's familiar with the ship. So Mr. Quartermaster, how much gold do we have on hand? I know that we found those trade bars.
Yeah, we have a bunch of goods and materials that could be added up to 2,000 gold, but I don't think we can find anyone to sell it to immediately.